Well, hello everyone. Welcome to week 4 in this season of Reddit League. We have a great Division 5B matchup for you today. My name is Satomo, and I'm joined as always by my co-caster Calamity. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, we had some interesting times on the world map last week, but now we're headed to the far north in Iceland for this matchup between Vincenzo and Bombadil. Calamity. Vincenzo did pretty well last season in Division 5 in his first season, and it's Bombadil's first season with us.
Yeah, Vincenzo had a pretty tough relegation battle last season, came out on top on the last game day with a win against Steven back then. And yeah, always in Division 5, had a relegation battle, means he came in 5th and was pretty much
Yep.
mid-table. But so I'm sure he wants to stay well clear out of that relegation battle this season. And the fact that, there's already been 2 red cards makes that a bit easier. But I think the competition in general has gotten a bit stronger as well, so that makes it harder again, and we'll see how he does. So far, they've both done pretty decently, 2 wins and 1 loss for each of them, but there's also already been some free points in there, I think. Vincenzo especially had a bye week last week, which he didn't really take all that seriously. He just clicked through the seed, which is why his average points are so low. I think that was 4,000 points or something for him back then. Um, and Bombadil has also already had both of his bye weeks, actually. So he hasn't actually had a real win yet. Although I think the first week game, his opponent actually did still play, just got retrospectively or retroactively red carded, and therefore he's now back to 0 actual wins against opponents, which is not a great position in the table. So he definitely hoped to put a win or get a win against Vincenzo here.
Yeah, definitely. With that, other than that, they're pretty even with all respects. A few more aces for Bombadil, but of course, with Vincenzo not taking a map really seriously, his stats are a little bit skewed, as you mentioned. Well, this map is Iceland, and it has its own unique challenges. It is by Topotic, our Season 1 Reddit League champion. Average score of around 13,000. It's been played about 300 times, probably a bit more than that now. But yeah, pretty unique map because most of the coverage, well, all of the coverage is completely around the ring of the outside of the island, Calamity.
Yeah, there's some parts that like bleed into the center of the country a bit, especially in the southwest. It's a bit more inland, but you can pretty much take like a very big circle in the middle of the country where you'll find no street view whatsoever. Also, no people whatsoever. So there's no point for street view there anyway, because there's just no roads. But that means that usually you've got a pretty decent idea what side of the country you're on. Because most of the time you're going to end up on the one, which is the ring road that goes around the whole coast. And at that point, especially in the south, you can relatively easily see the coast. In the north, it's a bit further away from the coast, but usually the landscape is a bit different, so you can tell there as well. The north is a bit more mountainous in that regard. And yeah, apart from that, road numbers make it relatively easy though. So as long as you find a junction with some signs that give you road numbers, you should still be completely fine.
Indeed, with that. Well, let's jump into round number 1 and see how these two do here. And this looks like it might be the one.
Yep, that is definitely the one.
Yeah, nice, beautiful highway in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's at this point you can pretty much guarantee yourself that you're somewhere on the northern side. Because as you can see there, it's quite mountainous. You see a lot of mountains in the background. You don't see the ocean, and who's on which side? Bombadil already ran into a dead end there, so they've now going the same way.
Yeah, that's something interesting to mention, Calamity, is that Iceland's coverage has been broken by Google for some reason. It used to be very nice, but now there are plenty of broken sections, even on the one. So, gonna prove a challenge if you end up going 4 minutes and then hitting a dead end. There we go. Confirmation for the one for Vincenzo there.
Yeah, just in case. I say that often, but as we saw there with Bombadil, this way around is much better, where you go in the wrong direction first, hit the dead end straight away, and then you can continue the right direction. Because if Vincenzo would now turn around and try the other side, he'd hit a dead end, and then all of his progress so far would be nullified, and he'd be kind of stuck. But yeah, they've both seen a sign for the 1, so they're now going to look for a different junction.
And that junction hopefully will have some nice numbers. The road numbers for Iceland are nicely laid out, going clockwise around the country. So very helpful.
There's some smaller roads that can be difficult to find, some of which you have to zoom in really far for them to show up. And there's also some that don't show up on the map at all. Like you get the road, but it doesn't have a number on it. But those are kind of rare. I think I've seen 2 or 3 scenarios where I saw a number and it wasn't on the map anywhere. Most of the time, they're quite easy to find. And even the good thing about how it's so well ordered is that usually, where in a lot of countries you're like, well, there's some close numbers here, but it's not quite that. Then you kind of have to look further and maybe it's in a completely different place. In Iceland, that usually isn't the case. If the road numbers around you are very close, then that road is here somewhere. And if you can't find it, then it's quite likely that it just doesn't show up on the map. And you kind of have to look at the roads that are unnumbered and then just kind of place your pin on one of them, look at which one fits the most with the layout.
Yeah, so the longer we go here, still haven't seen anything definitive, and really hoping that Vincenzo does not turn around, because that would prove disastrous.
Yep.
But no, he's got a very nice sign. I don't think he will. The 93 and the 85 were actually in the eastern side.
Yeah. Geoguessr. That's probably the biggest one, biggest city on these signs.
But that turnoff for the 85 will be quite helpful.
Yeah. And Bombadil's found the same one.
Yeah, he's even caught up with him. So they have been heading sort of east to that location, so they're going to backtrack to the west.
Yeah. I think they've both put their pin way too close to the intersection right now, but we'll see if they adjust for that later.
Yeah, that can be the hard thing about Iceland, is you try to pinpoint on a long road with a few slight curves, and good luck counting those.
Yeah.
All the way back to your starting location.
Especially when you've gone for like 3 minutes, and at that point you could kind of try a tactic of count them while you're going down them. And that way, at least you've got a rough estimate. Maybe sometimes you're wrong or off by 1 or 2, but at least you know roughly, okay, I've gone through like 7 or 8 turns until I got to the intersection. So that at least brings you in the right area. And then you only need to check like 1 or 2 turns either side of your starting location to get a better idea of where you could have started.
Definitely. I think Vincenzo's a little bit mistaken about the road direction at the start.
Yeah, he seems to be.
He's looking at a more north-south road, but he's definitely on an east-west road, so that might be a little bit of a trick for him.
Oh, I think he might not see that says 81 kilometers, because he's put us about 2 kilometers outside of Geoguessr.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, he's got 15 seconds.
Right.
Let's see if there we go. He'll
better.
move his pin back in the same vicinity as Bombadil, and he will guess a little bit early, which is interesting, but 4,946 points for him. Not bad at all. A bit lucky with a quick pin adjustment.
Yeah, as you said, he still had about 10 seconds left. And at the end there, I think he just assumed, all right, I've got 10 seconds left. I won't be able to pinpoint it better anyway. And just went with somewhere along here. And we're still quite a bit closer than Bombadil, actually.
Yeah, well, interesting. I think Bombadil made that mistake you said, Calamity, of just assuming we were a lot closer to that intersection than we actually were. At least Vincenzo said, well, we're far away, and just clicked. Bombadil a little bit too confident in his placement. So 4,381 for him. So a pretty nice lead for Vincenzo, but Calamity, it is Iceland. So, it could definitely see that turnaround in the next round ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting because usually, like, I'd say 9 out of 10 rounds in Iceland are quite easy. But you can just get that 10th round where if you go the wrong direction or if you get a bit unlucky, you'll have no idea where you are and can lose a lot of points very quickly.
Definitely. So we'll see if they can avoid that dreaded killer round as we get into round number 2. Now this might be a bit more pinpointable.
Yeah, that's
given that there's a sign right there.
That's not a killer round.
Yeah, this is not it. There we go.
It's 753. And as we said, we've got the area there, 752 there, 755. So where Vincenzo's put his pin, it's got to be somewhere there. And
there we go. Looks like
Bombadil's found
Bombadil
it.
has got it.
Yeah.
Oh, Vincenzo's found it, but he's found it very far down from the 1.
There's also a sign there that told him he's... Oh, well, Bombadil's already got it. I mean, it was a pretty easy round. There was a sign that said 89 kilometers to Akureyri. If you're good at judging your distance, maybe that helps you.
Yeah, but again, on the 1, nice intersection, not too far, just slightly to the east. Bombadil showing why he's got already 4 aces. He can definitely pinpoint a round like this. There's a nice big river to the east as well.
Yeah,
that should help him out.
Yeah, exactly. You should be, without knowing where he is, you should be on the 1 between those 2. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
There we go. Now he sees the road number. Now make sure we remember we're slightly to the east of that.
There we go.
There we go. And a pinpoint for him. So 2 aces in a row for both of them here, Calamity. But again, about as straightforward as Iceland gets.
Yeah. This was probably the easiest round you can find. I mean, this is the 753. You have to zoom in a bit for it, so it could theoretically be easier. But yeah, if you've got 5 minutes, it wouldn't be a good sign if you couldn't get this one right.
Yeah, well, thankfully both of our competitors got it right in this one, which means Vincenzo still has that slight lead going into round number 3 here.
Oh, I heard you like the
round
one.
Number 1.
Here's some more of it.
How long does it take to drive around the entire country?
I think I heard something like 4 or 5 hours. But
wow, okay.
Let me just look it up. You can commentate on the one. There's not a lot to say for me anyway.
Yeah, they keep going north, and they go north, and they go more north.
And what did they do? What did they do then?
Oh, they go north. What do you know?
Ah, yes.
Fascinating stuff. And they see some lichen and some more lichen, and
and maybe some mountains in the background.
Yeah, oh, actually, a bit of mountains in the background.
Yeah, it's a lot longer than 4 hours. Never mind. Let me put Reykjavik in here too. And I told Google Maps drive here to the other side of the country and then drive back, and it just drove the upper half of the country twice. It's about 17 hours.
Okay. So a day drive, a very long one. In the meantime, they have found a sign confirming they are on the 1 again and near the 85, so very close to their first location, believe it or not. And now this is a much more north-south road, so the other side of that intersection for sure. Now Vincenzo, having kind of sussed this whole area out in round 1, might have a bit of an advantage. He's already checked a lot of these signs.
Now he's justified in putting a pin to the south of that intersection.
There you go. Oh, what do you know? This looks really familiar. This is the exact same intersection, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Again, they're both, at least right now, judging that they're way too close. Let's see if Bombadil learned his lesson from round number 1. You did travel for close to 2 minutes to get there.
Yep. Yeah, they're both kind of just looking at, okay, which direction does this road go? Is there any curve here that might help me pinpoint? And yeah, kind of.
Both of them looking at that same big westerly bend in the road for their pin placement. There is a small river up here that they might be able to find. Looks like Vincenzo does point that out for us as Bombadil. They're almost going step in step here, Calamity.
Yeah, the rivers in Iceland can be a bit annoying. Sometimes they're there and sometimes they aren't. This one is there, so it helps them out a bit. But I think they both kind of knew already they were in that turn anyway. And they're just gonna try and see how close they can get. I think Vincenzo's is quite a bit too far west. That's better.
There you go. And you too can have unlimited games of Google Street View with only €2 a month.
Not even €2, €1.99.
€1.99, yeah. There we go. An ace for him. Let's see. Minute and a half still to go, but Bombadil's going to guess as well. Ooh, just drops 22 points. So, yeah, unfortunate. 12 points, sorry.
1 meter away is extremely close for Vincenzo there.
Yeah, a little bit lucky.
Yeah,
within the margin of error for Google. So, very nice indeed. But, yeah, a few more points dropped here, but pretty much they stay lock in step after 3 rounds. And really interesting to have 2 rounds so close to each other, seeing the same intersection.
Yeah, it helps them during the game, of course, but at the same time, it means you're obviously going to get it right the second time anyway. So unless you walk the wrong way in the first round, but as we saw back then, it was a dead end, so they had no other choice than to find that intersection anyway. But I guess you could have walked the wrong way in the third round and then not found it. But that, of course, means that there's no room for Bombadil to make up points, and he'll have to hope for 2 difficult last rounds.
Yeah, definitely a favorable round for Vincenzo to defend his lead as we get into round number 3. 14-9, 46 for Vincenzo, 14-3, 6-9 for Bombadil, and this is not the difficult round he would have wanted.
Not really, no. It immediately says Reykjavik on the sign that Vincenzo found there. And while Reykjavik is the capital of Iceland, it's still not that big of a city.
So even if there are a few points dropped by being across town, you're not going to lose too much. And there's a very nice road number. I believe that's the 49?
Yeah, it's the 49 and the 40.
Yeah.
49 towards Reykjavik and the 40 the other direction. Too blurred out city.
So both of them already narrowing in on sort of the southeast part of the city. Bombadil seems to have found a nice little roundabout he's happy with.
I'm not quite sure what Vincenzo is looking for. Maybe he's looking for Nauthólsvík. But yeah, the way the sign looks makes you think this is probably like a very small like a district or something of Reykjavik and not an actual city. So
there's a big river to the south that'll help.
By big river, we mean inlet.
Well, yeah, I guess it might be. Plenty of those in Iceland, though.
He's now looking in Reykjavik itself for the small part of town. He's not going to find it like this.
Yeah, I don't think he's seen that 40-49 sign.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah, that Bombadil has. So that's a bit of a miss for him.
He's not moved far from the start at all yet. Bombadil, he's got a location that he thinks he's somewhere near there, but he's not quite happy yet, and for good reason. But he also doesn't really know from this point forwards or where to go from here. Something interesting.
Luckily, they still got 2.5 minutes, so they can travel a bit.
What I didn't notice back then, the road he's currently on is called Flugvallansvegur, and flug means flight, and therefore it would be quite likely to be close to the airport, is my thought process.
Well, you'd hope so. Oh, there is an airport right there. It's on Vincenzo's screen.
Yeah, it's on Bombadil's as well. If you can tell it's an airport. I couldn't tell it's an airport, as always. I don't think Vincenzo has a map of the city there.
Reykjavik. But it's the whole peninsula, so it's not like it's going to help him out too much. But put that together with an airport, maybe you might find something. Both of them not really picking up on that. Oh, what do you know? There's a control tower. There's a nice roads.
I think I've just never been to like such a small airport.
Yeah,
Doesn't stand out as an airport.
49 sign for him. I think the smallest airport I've been to was on Maui.
Okay.
Where the check-in staff was the baggage staff, the attendant, everything. So she came out, checked us in, took our ticket, put the chocks in front of the tires of the airplane. She was the whole crew.
Yeah. I think the smallest
there was no
one...
security, absolutely no security. So yeah.
I think the smallest one I would have been to is the one in Zakynthos in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
They're both still... No progress has been made in the past 5 minutes. Well, past 3 minutes. That's probably a better estimate.
They're both still looking around the same part of the city, but
Vincenzo actually has now Torsvik there on his screen, on the map.
Is he gonna see it? I don't know. He's got 30 seconds left. We'll see if he can spot it. He goes back to the street view and just keeps spinning around the intersection.
Yeah, he's got it there to the southwest, but Bombadil's finally found it. After not moving his pin for the last 3 minutes, he's got it.
And don't forget, we are in a roundabout. And yeah, time will... I guess he guessed a little bit early, kind of gave up. 4,878 for Vincenzo. And then he goes, oh, well, there's an airport.
Yep, there definitely is an airport there. And there's also an outpost.
Time will run out. Yeah, time will run out for Bombadil in the process, 4,997. So there we go. About half of that difference caught up in that round. So we thought it would be pretty straightforward. It's right in the middle of the city, a huge airport next to it, but it does prove to be a little bit of a slip from Vincenzo there, Calamity.
Yeah, but you say half of it. I think it was about 700 points, and he made up about 100, so I wouldn't quite call that half.
Was it that much? I thought it was only like 200-300.
I think Bombadil in the first round got 4,300 something, and Vincenzo, I think he had 4,900 something, so it was quite a bit, yeah.
So long ago already.
Yeah.
Here we go, as we will get ourselves ready and into round number 5. Yes, he still has quite a bit of a lead, but a little bit smaller. 19,824 for Vincenzo, 19,366. And another beautiful intersection. This seed not really challenging any of them. But it did challenge their pinpointing ability, and Vincenzo looks like has come out on top on that.
Just a better round
Being
1.
able to use those signs, yeah. Just pretty much from that round 1, yeah.
Yeah, and these signs, of course, great. One direction to Grindavik, the other to Thorlaxhöben. And both of those kind of stand out on the map. Grindavik especially. But, you know, you've got the 427, you've got the road number at that point. There's not much more you need. And Strandakirkja, which is also on that sign, towards the south, stands out even more. So, yeah, quite a easy round to finish off.
Yeah, only 2 kilometers away. That'll be really nice. If he ever notices the town, he just keeps passing. He'll get there eventually, hopefully.
Yeah, I think Vincenzo hasn't actually looked at the Strandakirkja sign yet.
Yeah, and a really quick guess from Bombadil here, thinking he had it, but just a slight bit off, 4,996. A bit unfortunate for him. He had the time. He could have definitely done a little bit better, if nothing else, to pick up an ace. And with Vincenzo honing in on the location, he won't drop enough points.
Yeah.
To hand over the win to Bombadil. So Vincenzo will pick up an honest win, while Bombadil still will search for one of his own and next week. But you think this might be a little bit of experience? Vincenzo, second year player, does seem to make a little bit better use of his time and kind of checking those directions, judging that distance a little bit better.
Maybe, I don't know. It was basically the whole seed came down to round 1, in which Bombadil just, I don't know, maybe just mistook or just misjudged the distance. It's such a samey road where you can go like 2 kilometers down the road and it'll look the exact same. It'll have the same curves. So you kind of have to just know how far you traveled to really be in the right place there.
Yeah, and maybe Vincenzo even getting a bit lucky with that last second pin adjustment that threw it out there and got really, really lucky with that. So yeah, a bit of luck, a bit of skill brings us to the end of this one with Vincenzo on top, as we'll take a look at their final scores. 24-8-19 for him and 24-3-6-2 for Bombadil. Yeah, Calamity, really good scores, but not the most challenging of seeds. Sees Vincenzo on top. Yeah, well, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this 5B matchup brought to you by us. And we will see you all in the next one. Take care.
Bye.